Bonjour, I am Sandrine. Together, we will learn about the infinite quantum and galactic realms so we can embody more of our multidimensionality and accelerate our ascension.
So why learn about fractal reflection and the matrix systems? First is to be able to live in the moment in true happiness and freedom. Because if we know that there is an infinite amount of matrix system, it's very important to be really anchored in our own truth, in our own sovereignty, so we can be free no matter what, no matter the restrictions in the outside world, no matter what others are projecting, what the government is saying, what's happening, we're still free. The other one is to stay connected to our loved ones and the world in our sovereignty. Because as we shared before, a lot of us, we are experiencing fears of losing our lost one in the process of ascension. I want to reassure you that this is not the case. There is a bigger picture to this. So may you receive effortlessly from this place of divine knowing that you and your loved ones, you are safe into your love connections. All right? The third point is to take aligned actions based on high frequencies for ascension. Like if you hear, most likely you code it as divine revolutionary and divine warrior. So I trust that you take aligned actions, but remember that as soon as we take aligned actions to align to love, to not allow ourselves to be kind of lost into all of these emotional waves, feeling lost into the matrix system, always going back at a center point into our heart. The faster we shift, the faster we anchor our highest identity, and therefore our highest timeline, the faster we soar. So let's take aligned actions, all right? The fourth point is to experience accelerated evolution in trust and peace. Very cool. Can start creating with quantum technologies, with star races, with all sort of amazing collective. And that's very, very exciting. And the last one, we learn about this to experience unity consciousness now with all species. Because unity consciousness, we can experience bliss now. Like we can totally, like many ascended masters have shown it, and we do not need to reside in a cave to do it. We can experience it now. And this system that I'm so happy to channel really shows how to really, it's like kind of anchor that bliss into every single moment that we get to experience with every breath. So this is fractal reflection theory. So I love it, Gabby, when yesterday you drew like this. You can see? You drew that and I was like, no way, how telepathy works. And for a moment, I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen because I like to actually use my little whiteboard here for this. You can all see me well, yeah. So it might be the same amazing, very advanced drawing, It's actually the opposite from Gabby in terms of explanation, Not saying that Gabby is not good. It was amazing. But here, we're gonna actually see that this is a fractal. And the fractal is actually us, Ta-da. And the fractal is also a cell. It's also an organ, a bone. A fractal is also a collective, a group of people, a group of souls. It is also the planet. A fractal is also a universe or another galaxy. So for the purpose of this transmission, we will talk about the fractal as the self, as a human self right now. So at the center of the fractal here is our heart portal. This is the portal that we connect with our soul. This is where we receive the intuition, the language of our soul. Because in the travels that I have experienced as part of the quantum alchemy that I channel, in fractal alchemy, I was taken back to the place where souls are actually created. And it's literally like you have, I'm not going to go into details because it's quite long, but you have all the codes and some codes come together. And then what is created through these advanced beings, like they take some codes that the codes freely come together. They're not forced to come together. They freely come together to be able to create a heart. And they create this magnificent cosmic heart. And then this cosmic heart is just infused with so many loves and so many codes. And some star races come and it's just like they're there to basically love the heart. And the heart becomes, it's a soul. And then the soul gets to choose where it wants to go depending on her codings. So literally, the heart is the portal of the soul. Interestingly enough, when we talk about architecture of life, this is actually a portal. And this portal, the way I see it, it's like, first it's a black hole, but as you enter it, you can navigate the quantum. So you can connect to all, like Gabby said, like you have this, like this is our soul, and you have all of these kind of soul projections, I would call them. And through this portal here, you can access instantly any of your soul projection. You can also access different realms of realities. That's so badass. And this frequency here is the frequency of the heart, frequency of love. Ta-da! So we are already wired here to be able to be connected directly to our soul, and all the souls that reside in the quantum. And we are also, through this, which is the point that directly connect to source consciousness, directly connect to earth consciousness, and so on. So from our heart center, we are drawn into anchoring there. And then fractal reflection theory come in, and fractal reflection theory is like this. So it's exactly the drawing that was there on the slide. So this is just a representation of the fluctuation. So you have the upper quadrant and lower quadrant. So this is when we are completely like lost in physicality, we just identify with this. It's the glow, it's the suit, call it the suit, like we identify completely with it. So like people who we say really reside in the 3D, they are more cut from their emotions. So they have a lesser degree of understanding their emotions, right? So a lot of us, when we start awakening, it's like the emotions, the range of emotions increase, we become even more empathic, and we start perceiving the frequencies from other people, and it can be really difficult. So when we start awakening and when the 4D bridge opened, what's going to happen? And they say, of course, it happens as well to people who are not awakening and who are the same. It's like we are trapped into these waves here, like this. So one day we're going to feel very, very sad. This is low frequency emotion here. So you're going to be very, very sad. We're going to be very angry. We're going to feel lost. We're going to feel frustrated. We ask questions constantly and we don't get answers. So we feel lost. We feel even more frustrated. So we stay anchored into the lower quadrant of our fractal. And then some days we feel excited. We feel joyful. We feel happy. We feel connected. We feel our purpose. We are more into the upper quadrant of the fractal reflection. What happens during one day, even 1 hour at time, is that we navigate up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down like that. And it's like the fractal basically is lost. The fractal is lost, like we are lost here. So that's exactly the story I shared. I was completely lost here. Yes, sometimes I feel love, but love is just one amongst all the emotions, right? So this theory explains, so this is channeled from the, from the Arcturians, Andromedans, Syrians and Palladians. Like this is the team I work the most with, for this body of work. And so they say like humans, they must learn to anchor into the center point of the fractal, which is love and inner peace by observance. And this is not new, guys, you know, like living in the present moment, observing, you know, like all of that, that is actually not new, but this is actually the architecture of it. Because when we start observing this, we place ourselves as the angel of our human, as the protector, as the guardian, as the mother or the father of our human. So we are here residing in love, and what we do is to love our human. So as our human starts really feeling really lost and exhausted, it's like, oh, I reside here. I observe you, human. You are experiencing being lost. You're experiencing being sad. It's okay. It's okay. You can experience it because all of these frequencies reside within you. All of these frequencies reside within us. A fractal cannot escape emotions in physicality. This is part of the human experience. So instead of trying to reject them by, you know, blocking, because what we block then is like we're gonna basically stay stuck in the underrealms when we don't want to observe our emotions. We stay in the underrealms. No way we can ascend like that. So we have to start literally walk the talk of connecting with advanced, you know, advanced being. We are the advanced being, are we not? Yeah? Type in the comments. Do you trust that you are an infinite soul? Do you trust that you are a spark of the divine? That you are eternal? That you are born from love and that you're returning to love? This is exactly how we do it. We are this frequency of love. So our job is to stay anchored at the center point of creation within our heart. So when our human experiences fluctuation in the fractal, fluctuation in the reflections of the fractal, we allow that to exist. We don't fight it. We just allow them to exist. And guys, this has changed my life. I was a person fighting my emotions constantly because this is not spiritual, because masters do not, you know, like have emotions, because you do not show emotion, blah, 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 because if I show emotion, I'm going to stay trapped there. This has changed my life. Oh, I can feel. So we have the lower frequency here. So let's say, for example, we are very sad. Like we can experience sadness, you know, of course we can experience sadness. You know, there are things that are really, really sad, you know, there are things that make us very angry, right? Like it's not bad to feel that, it's okay. When we have emotions like that, we observe our human. And because we observe our human being the eternal presence, the angel behind it, we can hold that frequency. And therefore, okay, so this is where it becomes interesting. So let's take, for example, a ladder 0 to 10. Let's say that these are the frequencies of the fractal. There is a fractal variability that is present here. So here would be 5 to 10, and here would be 0 to 5. When we really reside a lot in lower fractal, because we have to feel the grief, like if we're grieving, if we're really sad, if we are very angry, we're just going to start tapping into the low frequency. After a while, we observe that with so much love, you know, like actually this could be, I don't know, yeah, this could be 12, they say, because 12 is cool spiritual number. Arcturians got to love them. So we stay here. We allow human to exist, but because we are the presence, instead of, you know, being depressed for 2 weeks onwards and then being very angry at the neighbor for putting the music very loud so we cannot sleep one evening, or waking the baby up and we're gonna go like frantic and scream, like instead of that we can observe, oh, human is very like, the human is very sad, so let's allow the human to grieve. when the human is angry, let's wire that. Like, let's take that pillow and scream in that pillow and not into the neighbor's face, you know? And so we can hold ourselves. We basically learn to master emotions. This is when we really feel strong emotions coming. We allow them to exist. After a while, the more we practice the presence in the fractal from the heart portal of observing the navigation of the human, we start increasing this. So it becomes like this. The center becomes bigger. We are more and more anchored into love. We can start, you know, asking to, okay, let's vibrate more into these frequencies. So for a moment, let's observe this. So this is where we anchor into love. So what about this quadrant? It is amazing. Like we're going to feel joyful. We're going to feel excited. We're going to feel it all. Like we also want to observe that, because what the Arcturians were explaining, for example, with the frequency of excitement, it's amazing. But if you, like me, you're a very excitable person, like literally I could not sleep for 2 nights at least before this event because I was so excited. And it happens like that for a lot of my events. And after, what happens, the fractal always look at balancing itself out between a certain degree of variability. So if I'm always buzzing here, the fractal is going to balance itself out by tapping into the lower frequency of exhaustion, for example, or feeling lost or feeling very sad. You know, typical child reaction before a birthday, you know, excited for days, overexcited during the birthday, crash, big drama. The fractal is balancing itself, you know? So I always grow up as adult, as conscious soul, because like, okay, my human is so excited. That's great. Allow the human to be excited. It's beautiful. Excitement is a frequency of moving out of lower fractal, of increasing this quadrant here. We live more from this quadrant. But we observe this from here. So we can hold space for the human to be excited, and we don't crash, you know, we don't crash after that. So we allow the experience to happen. We allow the emotions to fluctuate. We simply do not identify completely with them, you know, like we say, okay, let's have a walk in nature. Let's breathe. You know, you're very excited. That's awesome. But what about we observe this with presence? You know, the angel behind you saying, you're so cute, little human. Your excitement is contagious, you know? So when we start connecting more and more to the center point of our fractal, this is when we start alchemy.
If you enjoy this, you will love Fractal Alchemy 5D Quantum University. Please visit my website sandrines.com for more information.